أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, brothers. We start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send our salam and salawat on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, we've been doing the series of the life story of the four famous Imam that we know as the Imam of the Madhab. So we have finished Imam Abu Hanifa's life story in the first 4 to 5 weeks time. Then we started Imam Malik, and today inshallah ta'ala we're gonna review Imam Malik's life story and finish the last part of the story of Imam Malik inshallah ta'ala. So just a quick review that we did so far. That Imam Malik was born actually in 93 AH after the Hijrah. Imam Malik's father was Anas ibn Malik, but not the famous Sahaba Anas ibn Malik. This is another Anas, but his grandfather was also very close to the Sahaba, and he worked with the Sahaba. And his mom was also Aliyah bint Sharik. She is also a very person that who was always keen for the knowledge. She used to send his son to the daras of the madrasas and all these things. And one of the unique thing of Imam Malik that he never ever left Medina. He was always in the Medina because he is the Imam of the Medina. Only for Hajj he went to Makkah. No other place that he been gone, and there's no record of anything that he gone there. So as a child and as a young man, he was not a person in the seeking knowledge. He was into the playing and singing and all these things. But inshallah ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him in the right path, and then he started his journey in knowledge. So his first teacher, as we mentioned, there's a scholar named Ibn Hurmuz, and he also learned from him the methodology of saying I don't know, or I do not know basically. So if Imam Malik has no knowledge of something, he used to say I do not know. He doesn't have to make up anything, because he's a great Imam that he has to give an opinion. He didn't do that. As we know that there are different teachers, we talked about Nafi, we talked about Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, Zafar al-Sadiq. All these people were the teacher of Imam Malik. We also said Imam Malik had actually few female teachers of that time. The female who are the tabi, the daughters of Sahabiyat or something. So they were a student of Aisha, and from there they have their student, and Imam Malik went to them and study from them. And Imam Malik himself has a lot of female students in his halakha, and from there we know that the education for female at that time also it was in a profound way. It was going up. We also talked about that the students of Imam Malik, his own daughter Fatima, she was a scholar of herself. Later on she became a scholar. Imam al-Shafi, that we're going to talk about inshallah ta'ala from next week, he was also a student of Imam Malik. Imam al-Shaybani was the famous student of Imam Abu Hanifa, and Abu Hanifa himself sent him to sit down with Imam Malik and study for 3 years. And then we talked about the book Al-Muwatta, the famous book of Maliki Madhab, as you can say. And this was word spread in all the madhab. So all the madhab has got something from Al-Muwatta, and we say that there were almost 70 people who are memorizer of Muwatta, and there are some most of them from Medina. We can see from Mecca, Asham, Iraq, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Andalus, all these places. These people were the one who was spreading the madhab of Imam Malik. And then also we say the copy of Muwatta was requested by the Khalifa of that time, Harun al-Rashid, to hang on the Makkah, the wall of the Makkah, to honor it and to tell the Ummah that follow everything, all the Sunnah, all the rules and regulations by Al-Muwatta. But obviously Imam Malik didn't agree on that. He said, no, I know there are difference of opinion in Sahaba, and the Sahaba went to different lands to spread Islam, and there will be different rulings for different lands. So I cannot make my book one book for the Islam. And then his role in politics, as we mentioned, that he was very silent up to the age of 52 in any kind of political matter. But then in the age of 52 there was a revolt against the first Abbasiyya dynasty, someone named Muhammad al-Nafsu Zaykiya. So he tried to revolt, and Imam Malik he supported him, and because of that he was tortured by the governor of that time, it's called Sulaiman ibn Jafar. and the apology from the Khalifa, he came, Al-Mansur, he came and apologized, but Imam Malik understood, he never ever been public after that, because he was so severely injured actually. His shoulder was dislocated. Both the shoulders were dislocated when he was beaten, just because he was supported a person who was and Muhammad an-Nafsu Zaiki, as I mentioned before, he was from the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he had some physical issue also with his urinary bladder toward the end of his life. So he doesn't want to come to masjid that time, because he may an accident can happen, he can impurify the masjid. So he used to stay at his home most of the time during the last few years of his time, and at the age of 80 years old he passed away. So these are the things that we covered so far. Today we're going to have a very short talk about the methodology of Imam Malik. This is what I showed last time, that that blue spot, where we go to Medina now, how close it is to the Rawdah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the house of Ibn Masud, which was bought by Imam Malik, and he stayed and he finished his life in that house actually, basically. And then we showed the grave of Imam Malik. This is the first one, and the on top of this is his teacher, Imam Nawfa ibn Mawla ibn Umar. So that was the Nawfa, his teacher's grave there. And this is also in Jannatul Baqi, just toward the entrance. If you can see the people coming from there, so if you're planning to go to Hajj next time or Umrah, you can go to Jannatul Baqi and you can see this one. If you ask the people there, they will actually tell you, because there were marks before, but I think recently they've been moved. So for today's lecture, we're going to talk about very quickly the usul of Maliki Madhab. What are the usul? What are the principles that he approached to fill up his madhab? Obviously, the first one, like any other madhab, they take the text from the Quran. The second one was authentic hadith. Now here actually it's Quran and hadith. It's not one and two basically. Why? Because according to Imam Malik and any madhab after that, Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, they say if there is an authentic hadith, it has the same value as the Quran. And actually there are some great scholars like Ibn At-Tawri, and Ibn Shihab and some other scholars, they say in legal matter, even a hadith carries more value than a Quran. Not from the barakah perspective. Like when you recite Quran, you get barakah in every letter and everything. If you recite the hadith, it has no barakah for that. But for legal matter, it is sometimes more important than Quran. More, why is that? Because imagine the scene. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Aqimus Salah. If there is no Salah shown by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to do that, this could have been probably lost from our ummah, because nobody knows how to do that. Yet we read this one, but we don't know. On the other hand, if there is no Aqimus Salah in the Quran, Allah said, you have no mention of Salah, but Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do it 5 times a day. Obviously, every Muslim who's following Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do that, although it's not in the Quran. Maybe it's a command from the Sunnah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why in the matter of authentic hadith, some of the scholars say the legal weight of a hadith could be from more than the text of the Quran. Not from the barakah, but from the legal perspective. The second thing, obviously, the ijma of the Sahaba, Sahaba, meaning all the companions. Obviously, if there's a matter that's not in the Quran, not in the Sunnah, but most of the Sahaba are agreed on that, so Imam Malik used to take that one. And another unique thing of Maliki Madhab that is not found in any other Madhab, that is the practice of the people of Medina. So is there anything that has been practiced culturally by the Medinan people, he has to give this the same value as the authentic hadith. Why so? Because he used to think, because his generation was the generation of the grandson of Prophet, like the grandson of the Sahaba, and then the grandson of the granddaughter. He's only 80, 90 years after Prophet ﷺ passed away, actually. So when Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, if you think like this way, it was only 83 years after that Imam Malik was born. So he knows those people, these are the people whose father, whose grandfather worked with Prophet ﷺ. So he used to give the value of their practice in his madhab. And also Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, although he is not from this madhab, does anyone know what madhab is Imam Ibn Taymiyyah? What madhab he used to follow? Ibn Taymiyyah? Shafi'i. No, Hanbali. He was a Hanbali. So Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, he said, although preference the madhab of Imam Ibn Ahmad ibn Hanbal, but he said this one, number 4, practice of the people of Medina, he used to say that is one of the correct view of Imam Malik, because it is, you know, authentic, it is the culture of Medina, and these people grew up with this thing. So if it is there, so it has the value, you know, as similar as a hadith, as a sunnah. Obviously, the number 5 is al-qiyas, which is analogy. So if there is not a matter mentioned in any of the 4 above, so he used to do analogy. But Imam Malik never used to like this methodology. But there are some topic that he has to do al-qiyas. Instead of al-qiyas, he used to do another thing. It's called istisla. Istisla means, and this is istisla is very important in our time, because istisla means a matter that is not in Quran, no hadith, no opinion of the Sahaba. It's a current matter, okay, that's not been there. So you think about the benefit of the people. If I do this way, it will benefit more people. You know, by building this mosque, you know, if we think, okay, this area is better for the sisters. So is it in the Quran and the Sunnah and the Sahaba? No, there is no quite a hint at that time. So, but you know, if we think some way, no, this is the best place that we can give for our sisters, not the other place, not the back, you know, just an example, you know, then that's the kind of istisla. And Imam Malik used to prefer that a lot, because he learned it from the, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and also before that, Umar ibn Khattab himself used to do that. For an example, when the Sahaba went to different land, and especially like, you know, in Iraq, and even later on they come, you know, towards to, you know, the China and India and all these places, they have very fertile land, agricultural land. And Sahaba were very, very, you know, poor in maintaining gardens, because they didn't have garden in front of their backyard, because they're all Bedouin people, you know. They're the people of the desert. They don't know how to, you know, put, you know, fertilizer or take care of a plant, because they hardly had any plants. So, and that's why the agricultural land was getting wastage. So, you know, Umar ibn Khattab, he said, what we're going to do, the land that we conquered, because when an army conquers a place, all the properties and everything between distributed among the soldiers, basically, and this is the ganima. So Umar ibn Khattab said, no, if this land owner is there, he is alive, he didn't fight with you and he's still alive, keep it with him, you know, and tell him that is this your land. Only thing, when you have the produce, that Sahaba who has this land as a ganima will get the tax from him. So the produce, it will be taxed from him. But at least the maintainer of the garden will be the previous owner, basically. Although he's probably a Majusi or a Christian or a Jew or whatever it is, he will pay tax through the produce to the Sahaba who owns this land, but he will still maintain that. So that's the istisla, because that is a better way to do this one. And so that's why this is one of the thing Imam Malik is to like more than al-qiyas, because that is for the benefit of the people. Now, every madhab has some famous opinion, and you know, we recognize these things by looking at the people. We say, oh, okay, this must be a Hanafi, you know. Like, you know, Hanafi people, they always put their hand below the navel. You know, they have other practices also, you know. They have a very famous opinion, the Hanafi madhab, that even in Zahiri prayer, like, you know, in Zohar prayer, Asr prayer, you know, you don't say Surah Fatiha. Okay, so these are the different opinions. Like one of the famous opinion of Maliki madhab is holding the hand in the salah on the side. So there's no holding the hand in the imam. So that's why if you go to Makkah, Medina, you know, you see a lot of people praying like this on the hand side, and you say, oh, this is a Maliki guy. Okay, actually this one has a famous debate in Maliki madhab. So some of the text says, because some of the students, when they came at the end time of Imam Malik, because as I said, his shoulder was dislocated, it was very hard for him to hold the hand. So he was putting his hand on the side. So the students saw him. So that's one of the opinion. But on the other side, in his famous book Al-Muwatta, as we mentioned, he said, Imam Malik, who himself said that, you know, I have a hadith from Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Prophet was told, all the prophets, not only Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, all the Prophet was told by Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, during the Salah, you put your right hand on top of the left hand. Okay, this is the hadith in Al-Muwatta. But at the same time, Imam Malik said that, you know, there are hadiths in the Muwatta, I left it there because I know it. Okay, I left it there because I know it, but there is other better evidence, so I follow that on. So he put some of those two hadiths on one matter. He put both the hadiths in Muwatta because he knows about both the hadiths, but he chose this one. For example, one of the opinion of Maliki Madhab, you know, the 6th day of Shawwal. You know, after the Ramadan, we are always encouraged to have 6 days of Shawwal. The Arabic text says in the hadith, it says, when Ramadan is finished, from Shawwal, you do fasting of 6 days and you get 10 rewards, so 60 days of rewards. 1 day of Shawwal, 60 days rewards. And in the month of Ramadan, you get 300 days, like, which is 10 months, like 1 day is like 1 month in Ramadan. So then you have 60 days, so that makes the whole year, as if you fast whole year. Imam Malik say it doesn't have to be from Shawwal. It says from Shawwal, meaning from Shawwal to the next Ramadan. You have 11 months to do these 6. And he said this is the practice of the most of the grandson, and of the Sahabas and whoever around him. This is his opinion. So he know that hadith that we always quote, towards the end of the Ramadan, same hadith. But his interpretation, when he says from Shawwal, means Shawwal, it means that, starting from Shawwal. So something, so that is his opinion. But he put the hadith that way, but he said, no, it could be, it doesn't have to be 6 days of Shawwal. It could be, Dhul Qaidah, Dhul Hijjah, whatever, Rajab, Shawwal, whatever it is. So that is one of the things. So the holding the hands, so that's why he said, like, there are other people, other scholars later on of Maliki Madhab, they say that he didn't care too much about this, because this is, by all madhab, this is not a arkan of the prayer. So holding the hand either on the chest, either on the navel or on the side, okay, this is not a pillar of the salah. Like, saying Allahu Akbar the first time, loudly, or something that you can hear, that's the pillar. Reciting Surah Fatiha is a pillar. Ruku is a pillar. Coming out from ruku is a pillar. Going to sujood is a pillar. Making 2 sujood is a pillar. Sitting down from the sujood is a pillar, a rukun, okay? But holding the hand is never like that. And some scholars argue, no, when Prophet Islam stand on the mimbar, one of the Jummah time, after the khutbah, he stand on his mimbar. His mimbar was a wooden 2-step mimbar. He stayed there and he did all these things. So he showed people, put your hand on the chest, and on top of the left hand. He showed it to everyone, okay? And then he came down and do the sujood and went back again to show. And Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, you always pray, with us. Why you in the mimbar today? He said, I just want to make sure that you guys see what I'm doing, okay? And in that also, and he showed that hands has to be put. So, but the other scholars, yes, he showed that is one of the practice. It doesn't matter that it has to be obligatory thing in the prayer. So it basically at the end of the discussion, it does not matter, because holding the hand does not matter. Yes, some of the people, some of the countries, especially African countries, they follow this way, but this doesn't invalidate your prayer. So as long as you recite Fatiha and all other matters, it should be all good. And the last thing for today, the famous books of Maliki Madhab, we mentioned about Al-Muwatta. There's another one called Al-Mudawwana. It's done by another scholar, later student of Imam Malik. And also Mukhtasar Al-Khalil, there's a famous student called Al-Khalil. He wrote a book, and that is called Mukhtasar Al-Khalil. This person Al-Khalil, he thought actually, because when the subcontinent was conquered later on, and because Hanafi ruler was there, people who ruled that place, and the Hanafi madhab spread all over the Asian region, the subcontinent region, and it was a big land obviously. So he thought that because, and also Hanafi madhab had a lot of hypothetical thing, like if this is happened like it, what's going to do? And we mentioned this called Ar-Rai, the people of Ar-Rai. So he thought Maliki madhab will be wiped out. So what he did, he also took that all this hypothetical issues, and he put the principle of Imam Malik to make a book, and that is called Mukhtasar al-Khalil. I think it is published in English nowadays. If you Google it, if you want to decide, you can read about this one. So these are the famous 3 books. So we finish the story of Imam Malik here. Inshallah ta'ala, if Allah blesses us, we will start Imam al-Shafi next week. So jazakallah khairan, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.